but we're focused.
Well, let's talk about the people who don't have wind out of their sails. They have all the wind in their sails. Let's play Matt Gaetz, who was very excited about a thing they used to hate, the Mueller report, that they haven't read on Fox News last night.
Out of the Mueller investigation, we didn't get a single indictment on collusion with Russia. That was the underlying issue. I don't think that the president's supporters should uncork the champagne quite yet. I think there will be negative things about the president in the report. But, I mean, this was a biased group of people that only President Trump and didn't look at the true collusion that Dan pointed out, and that I know Dr. Gorka and I have talked about on Salem Radio.
Well, Dr. Gorka, I mean, that's case closed, Nayara. I mean, the true collusion, and by that they mean Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and Dr. Gorka is a fascinating example for them to pick, considering that he is we have photos of evidence of him appearing in Nazi uniforms, and he got kicked out of the White House, of this White House, because of his associations with Hungarian Nazi groups. Listen, this is supposed to be a political bombshell, but in reality, this is the process piece of the puzzle. It's a notification sent to Congress that Mueller's handed in the report to his ultimate boss, who is the Attorney General. And that's why Democrats have been playing it very close to the vest and talking about how there needs to be transparency. Let's have this report come out in Congress to the public. So you hear Nancy Pelosi say things like, until this is all done, we're not going to be talking about impeachment, really so that gives the opportunity to look at everything in detail and put greater context on the fact that there have been 39 indictments and arrests so far. The Republican side is really trying to do cover for Donald Trump and start burying the report before it's even come public. They want this to be a report that this moment in time to be the definitive moment in time that the report was handed in, everything is said and done. But we know the reality is that a lot of this is going to trickle out. The fact that it has not leaked in bits and pieces from a Trump-appointed Attorney General, I think, is very telling that they are concerned about what the context is in there. And we still need to wait for the Southern District of New York to also wrap up its investigation. So I think we should buckle up and for the long haul in this fight.
Yeah, and just in fairness to Mr. Gorka, he calls himself Dr. Gorka. We'll be nice to him. It was a pin from Vitesse Rend, apparently from his dad, and you can look up Vitesse Rend, and it's links to the old Nazi regimes in Europe. So we'll just make sure that that's on the record. John Aravosa says, let's play who was also on Fox News last night discussing the Mueller report, and we'll let you handle that one.
There's a lot of potential felonies that happened and abuse of power from the Obama administration. Are they going to get away with it? Because it looks like potentially they might.
So, John, it feels like the sort of way this is going, and Kurt Bardell on our last hour, who used to be an advisor to Breitbart, said that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to use whatever is in this report for a new set of talking points headed into the election, which is indict someone in the Obama administration or investigate them.
Right. I mean, but I think we all knew that anyway. I mean, last night at Mar-a-Lago, they all started cheering, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up again about Hillary. I mean, I don't think it's I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's a surprise that Fox News and the Republicans and Trump himself are going to try to make the next election A, about Hillary, and B, about lies that exonerate Trump. You know, I think there's two really important points we've got to remember here. I feel like it's election night 2018 all over again, and we're all freaking out before we actually know the results.
Yeah.
Mueller could have found that Trump did everything wrong, that Trump deserves to be in jail, he deserves to be ripped from office, but he can't indict him because of Department of Justice rules. I'm not sure that's the result, but it could be the result. We don't know. The second really important point is you don't need to have a crime to have Trump and his coterie to have committed acts that deserve impeachment. Look at that Trump Tower meeting is what pisses me off the most when I think about this. I had a top secret security clearance, and I once met with a Russian who came to my office, a Soviet, who wanted to meet with me working on the Hill, and I was so freaked out I called diplomatic security and said, the Soviets are coming to my office, and they said, he's KGB, you were right to call us, don't talk to the guy. When the Trump people got approached, when Don Jr. got approached, he said, I love it. When Papadopoulos got told about Hillary's emails, he didn't even think of calling the FBI. These guys, these are, as Steve Bannon said, these are treasonous and actions, and they still can rise to the level of impeachment and removal from office, even if they are not per se crimes.
Yeah, and you mentioned Steve Bannon, and Tiffany, one of the challenges here is that here in the real world, if somebody had said, this is treasonous, you wouldn't also expect them to then say, oh yeah, and Trump's going to weaponize this report and bludgeon the opposition party media and the Democrats. So that if he believed that these things were treasonous and thought, well, there's something ought to be done about that, he wouldn't then turn around and game out how that same activity and the report on it could be weaponized in the election.
Right. It makes my head explode when I see these clips from Fox News. It's so dangerous, Joy, what they're doing and what they're saying, because for the people who are tuning into you right now, these are intellectual people. You have curiosity about what's happening. The people who are watching Fox News, this is their gospel. This is what they look at. This is what they consider to be a reputable outlet of news and information, coupled with the president's Twitter feed. And it's a scary thing when you look at what has happened and what's being said. This is how you erode the core principles of our democracy, and it's happening before our eyes. The president has all but threatened the American people with some of his tweets, saying that he has bikers and the people with guns on his side. You have Fox News being an echo chamber for this. And when you look at the hypocrisy, I mean, look, a Republican Congress spent more time investigating Benghazi and Hillary Clinton than they did 9/11. And now you have them essentially dismissing a foreign adversary who we know tried to attack our democracy. And they're saying no collusion. Well, I would encourage people to look at Jerome Corsi's case specifically. That, by definition, was collusion. He was coordinating with Roger Stone, the campaign, and WikiLeaks. That is collusion. So it's really frustrating when I hear this echo chamber of ignorance coming out of Fox News being celebrated and cheered on by wealthy, ignorant people at Mar-a-Lago, because the people who are the victims of it are somehow inexplicably maintaining themselves in this president's camp, and I just don't get it. I mean, you have to laugh to keep from crying, but sometimes it's so infuriating that these people have the loudest microphone right now. Yeah. We have to call this out. We can't treat it like it's normal. We can't treat this, like it's just another day in Trump land. This is ridiculous. It feels like a Saturday Night Live sketch sometimes. It feels like we're living in Gilead. We've got to bring some intellect back to the discourse.
And you know what I think?